Those two, right? Okay. Let me call the April Town of Washington ZBA meeting to order. On tonight's agenda, there are 4 items. Continuation of the Upton Lake Christian School, area variance for a peak roof on proposed for the high school. The Alexander DeVoe area variance for addition to their home at 48 Shun Pike. Justin, I'm going to screw it up, Merlick, an area variance for an above ground swimming pool. And the last one is the continuation of the Daniel Yugard area variance for a rear yard setback and a side yard setback for the swimming pool, as well as a side yard setback for the pool equipment at 610 Stanford Road. Before we to the new business, we have the minutes for the March meeting. Any additions, corrections, changes, anybody?
I don't have any.
No.
I'll make a motion to approve it then. Do I have
Second.
motion by the chair, seconded by Frank, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. Okay, let's do the Upton Lake Christian School. My understanding is the lead agency, the planning board, has not yet done completion of the seeker, so what we need to do is just carry that over to the next meeting. So I'll make a motion to continue that to the May meeting.
Second.
Motion by the chair, seconded by Katie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. The Alexander DeVoe.
That was quick.
Hey, what can I say?
See you folks again.
Okay. For the record, the question that came up last time that postponed this from the March meeting to the April meeting was the question of whether they were in the wetland buffer. Steve Marino had gone out there, and I assume everybody's seen that memo that says they're well beyond the wetland buffer, so we're able to proceed. Does anybody have any questions? We did the public hearing. Does anybody have any questions or want to make any comment before we do anything?
I don't have any.
No, I don't either.
Okay,
I think that's all we were waiting for.
okay. Then can I have a motion that this is a type 2 action?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Frank, seconded by Katie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried unanimously. Okay, so if I'm right here, the nearest addition, the nearest point for the house is 66 feet 10 inches. Okay,
That's correct.
and from the size of the house, from when it was originally built, was 500 square feet. It's now up to, I'll say 2014. Wait a minute, that isn't right. Because you're adding,
It's 1,038 now.
That's 1,000.
you're adding 1,514 square feet, but you
Correct.
did add another 500 before.
Previously, yes.
Yes, so you're basically, from the original house, you're adding 2,014 square feet. So you're going up by 303%.
That's correct. If your math is correct, that sounds right to me.
A little more than 25%.
Yes, okay, so we need 2 variances then. Front yard setback of 33 feet 2 inches, and including a motion that to go beyond the 25% rule by 303%. Okay, I look at the size of the house as 2,500 total square feet, not a huge house compared, so I'm looking at it personally as not a huge palace that they're putting up, so I have no problem with the increase in the size. Not going to change the neighborhood. They're not putting up something huge there, so no change to the environment, no change to the neighborhood in my mind. Okay, and yeah, it's their choice to do it, so
I think they meet 4 out of the 5 criteria.
okay. So
I would make a motion based upon our review as set forth by our chairman to grant front yard setback of 33 feet 2 inches. And I'll do a separate motion for the other one.
Yeah, that's okay. Do we hear a second on this?
Second.
So a motion by Frank, seconded by Katie, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing no negatives, it's unanimously carried. Okay,
And
the
I would make a
motion,
second motion to grant a variance to allow a 303% expansion of the existing residence, even though it's more than the 25% allowed by code. And the reason is set forth by the chairman and a review of the record. I make the motion that we grant that variance.
I'll second that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. You're good to go.
Thank you all very
so
much.
much.
Hopefully the next day or so, it'll be in the building inspector and he'll let you continue with the building permit.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a
Good
good
night.
night.
Take care.
Take care, guys.
Justin, you're up. Why don't you come up, explain what you want to do and why the location you've chosen is the most optimum on your property.
I want to put above ground swimming pool. I live in a pre-existing non-conforming lot. Anywhere I put it on the property, I'm gonna need a variance for, except for in the middle of the driveway.
That's what it seems like.
Yeah. I think that's the best place to put it. We don't gotta cut down any trees. We just gotta do a little bit of excavating, take about like a foot of dirt off down the backside.
Pretty much level.
Pretty close to it, yeah. I don't want to take trees down. I don't want to, don't want to disturb everything too much.
Right. Okay.
Okay, I'm not quite sure I understand your numbers from the side yard setback. What's the distance from there to the pool?
From there to the pool is 80.2.
80.2. What we didn't have is from the equipment.
Well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. And do you guys, are we getting a variance for the pool or the equipment?
Both.
Okay. So what I was going to do with this is 3 feet from the pool, put a 5-foot concrete pad. So I can put the pump, the filter, and everything on that.
Right. So possibly a heater going down the road.
Yes, down the road, yes.
So that would be that, if it's 3 feet plus 5 feet for the pool, you're talking 8 feet, so you're talking there 72 feet.
Correct. Yes, correct.
Okay, so for the equipment then, you need 28-foot side yard, and for the pool, you need 19.8 feet. My numbers sound right?
You said 28 for the,
Side yard. And 19.8.
19.
Oh, wait a minute.
28 for the pool, 19 for the equipment?
No. 8, it's gotta be 18. He's getting closer to the side yard. Right?
Right, with the equipment.
For the
So 18 for the equipment.
It was 80, he's going,
Yeah, I was looking at
So
the
it's
80,
20, no.
the 87.
no, I'm right,
It's 28.
28.
28 side yard, right? And 18.8 equipment.
19.8. And the concrete pad will hold a heater. So
Yeah,
yeah. And you've already got a propane tank someplace on the property,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So. Any other?
That wasn't, if you look at our memo, that was really the main question. We had some minor comments otherwise on the submission, but it was mostly like, are we going from the pool, or are we going from the equipment? Precedent shows that you guys usually go from the equipment, so it sounds like you figured that out.
Yeah, that's what I didn't understand.
It's okay.
It seemed like there are a lot of trees. This lot's vacant, right? That's what they
Yes,
said.
correct.
The
There's
back
a-
is
like
a
a-
slope too, right?
There's a
Going-
big drainage ditch between the two pieces of property too, like on the line.
Plenty of screening in the front yard also.
Yeah, there's a big maple tree that I don't want to take down. That's why I want to put it there It's a really nice tree, you know.
And you're putting some shrubs or bushes in front of the pool too, you think, right?
Probably, I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna, you know. I'm gonna hide the pool equipment behind a bush or something too.
Yeah, it's not a requirement to have a fence since it's above ground. It's got it on a deck around it, so.
Right.
So,
Yeah, there's gonna be a deck on the back side.
yeah, well, that's within considered part of the pool.
Okay.
Yes.
Mhm.
So, got no other questions for Justin? We can open the public hearing.
Mhm.
I'll make that motion.
I have none.
Motion by Frank, seconded by Tate.
I'll second.
All in. I assume that's
Thank
what
you.
you-
Thank you.
All in favor? Aye. Anybody? Howard? No? Thanks. I'll make a motion then to close the public hearing.
I'll second that.
Motion by the chair, seconded by Frank. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, swimming pool's a type 2 action, so we need a motion that this is a type 2 action.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Frank, seconded by Katie. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
All right. In looking at the submission, I don't see that there'd be any adverse effects on the environment or the neighborhood. No one from the public has posed any objection to it. Therefore, I would make a motion that we grant the 28-foot side yard variance for the pool equipment pad. And should I do a second motion for the other one?
The 19.
Do it together.
Okay. And in addition, to grant a 19.8 feet side yard setback for the erection of the above-ground pool.
Do I hear a second?
I'll
Well, it
second.
would be a 28 side yard setback and a 19.8 equipment.
Yeah, the equipment's
The other way
closer.
around.
The other way
Yes,
around.
The
The other
equipment's
way around?
closer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the equipment is closer to the
Okay.
side
I
yard
wrote it
than.
down wrong then.
So what was that again? What, can you just repeat that? 28 foot what?
A 28-foot side yard variance for the pool equipment pad,
Equipment?
and then a 19.8 foot side yard variance for the
Okay,
pool
because you
itself.
flip-flop from the beginning to now, just so you know.
Yeah.
You said the reverse.
Yeah, exactly. I wrote it down.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you know.
It's 28 for the pool and 19 for the pad.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pool's farther from.
No,
No.
Yeah.
28
From the side.
28 for the pad,
Right.
and 19.8 for the pool.
You're going off 100. You need 100 foot, right?
Okay.
Okay, so the pool is 19.8 feet off the 100,
Okay, okay, yeah, you're right. Sorry,
okay?
I get
So
it.
you follow what we're doing?
Yes, I thought it was to the, I'm sorry.
Got it.
Yeah. So we're taking basically from the 100 off. Okay. So, the motion is for the pool from the side yard, 19.8 feet, and from the equipment pad, 28 feet. Okay, Frank made the motion.
A second.
Motion by Frank, seconded by Katie. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No, hearing no negatives, unanimous decision. You should be able to get your building permit and go forward.
Perfect, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thanks for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're to the
We have
swimming pool on,
we have an appeal, we have an appeal by
Kyle? where's the appeal stand?
So Mr. Finley issued a clarification to Mr. Rapplier's request. However, there's one, in that clarification, there's one issue that he was also raised by Mr. Rapplier. There's a question as to whether or not Mr. Finley adequately addressed that particular issue, which is dealing with whether or not the driveway is, the entire driveway in essence is part of, that's the main question, part of the lot coverage that would go into the equation of the overall number. And so I did take an opportunity to speak to both Mr. Rapplier and Mr. Raish, the attorney for the applicant, just to advise them of the status. And where we are is to just provide some time for Mr. Finley to make a determination as to whether or not there's any further clarification that's required pertaining to that question, or if he's satisfied with the determination that he's made thus far. If there's any further clarification on that issue, well then he'll have to make that, at which point in time I think the board can consider the appeal fully submitted. If Mr. Finley has nothing else to add to that particular request on that issue regarding whether the driveway is included, then again, I believe the appeal is at that point fully submitted. In either case, once we get that issue resolved, I believe then the board has to then move forward on making a determination on Mr. Rapplier's client's appeal.
So if I understand you correctly, we're waiting for Mr. Finley to get back to you and Mr. Rapplier about whether the driveway is included in lot coverage.
That's essentially correct.
Okay.
Whether he's got something else to add to it or he does not. If he does, then I presume he'll do so.
Then I don't see where we can do anything else tonight except continue it to the next meeting.
Correct. So until then, I believe the matter stayed. As I indicated, I did speak with the applicant's attorney on that as well, and obviously as well. So that's where we're at.
All right, well, based upon that report, I would make a motion that we continue this matter to the May meeting, pending further clarification from our building inspector and zoning administrator
On the appeal question.
on the appeal question.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Frank, seconded by Katie, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried unanimously. I'll make a
Can I ask a process question, John?
Yep.
Mr. Barnett's point, in terms of the appeal being fully submitted, my expectation is that we'll have a hearing, at which point the appeal can be argued. Is that correct?
That's correct. If the documentation is fully submitted, then I would anticipate come at the May meeting,
A public hearing on
a
it.
public hearing will be held. Mr. Rappley should have an opportunity to speak on it, along with the applicant's counsel, and obviously anybody else.
Thank you.
So you're saying at the May meeting, assuming that it gets done, what we've got to do is table the current motion on the table?
Just all we're doing is we're adjourning out. The variances application is stayed. That's continuing to be stayed. And in terms of the appeal, the question on whether or not that's the determination is final. And once that's final, it'll be considered fully submitted, and both parties will have an opportunity to present at the next meeting.
Does that have to be publicized?
The public meeting would have to be publicized. Yes, correct.
Does it have to be done in the paper?
Yes.
Just to make sure that we follow
So
the procedures.
I'll make sure that,
Help me, because we've got a vote on the table right now.
sure.
The way Sarah told me that we were supposed to follow that is we would either continue with a vote, or Frank would have to withdraw the motion for the vote. And that would have to be unanimous before we could go back and discuss anything else.
What was I misunderstood. What was,
Well, before Mr.
I have no
Rappi,
objection to your process, by the way, if you're concerned about that. I think, Mr. Parisi, you're raising the issue of the rehearing, and the Cornells, on their behalf, we have no objection to the process you've already voted on. My only question was, would it be a public hearing? That's it. And that's been clarified, and I thank you for that. So,
yeah, and I'm not sure, so,
before you came on board, before Mr. Rappi's appeal, there was a motion to grant variances. We didn't vote on it that night.
we did a partial vote on it that night, okay? And then it was decided to have site visits,
Yes,
okay?
yes.
So the
then-
motion
Right.
is pending.
And then the appeal was filed.
Okay.
So that's all stayed.
That's all stayed. Whatever you've done on the variance so far is stayed. You're gonna, in my opinion, you're gonna have to, I believe, once we get through the appeal, we're assuming that at that point in time, following the appeal, we're still moving forward on the variance, you're gonna end up having to revote on that approval. So that would be my recommendation at that point in time. Right now, what I would recommend is, I'm going to circle back with Mr. Finley, see if there's anything he has to add to to his determination. If he does not, whether he does or he does not, quite frankly, actually, what I'll do is speak with Kristen about doing the proper notices for the public hearing at the next meeting. So that's how we'll proceed in May.
Okay,
And the only, Kyle, the only thing that may change is if Jim does not change his opinion, if he just sticks with, then the appeal notice will say one thing. If he makes a contrary determination, follow me, I won't be the appellant on that issue. The coverage issue will go the other way. That's why when you talk to him, if you get a sense of timing, it may change the nature of the appeal.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct.
Okay, I just wanted to point that out.
That's correct. But, yes, correct. But you raised a number of issues.
It may limit them.
Exactly, that's right, exactly. So what I mean, it's possible there might be some of which, there might still be some issues for which you may still want to continue.
I'm sure there will be,
Yeah,
but it might limit.
It'll
What I'm
li-
saying is when you send that notice,
it very well may limit the issues. That is correct. Yeah, I'll deal with all of that.
that's it.
and if, let's say, the appeal comes back in favor of Alan, don't they have to re-amend the application?
That, they have that opportunity or that option. I wouldn't tell them how to proceed, but they have the option if for some reason, it really depends upon, well, I mean, there's the one outstanding issue. So theoretically, there's another issue by which they would have to submit yet another variance. They'd have to start the process over again. And that is absolutely possible.
Okay,
That'll be up to them, if and when that happens.
okay, just,
Yeah, I know it's confusing, but I think I understand how this matter is going to play itself out.
okay, thank you, Kyle.
Anytime.
Okay, I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Sure.
That all makes sense to you, Al?
Make that motion.
Thank you.
Yep.
Or did you make the motion?
I made the motion.
I'll second it.
I'll second.
Motion by the chair, seconded by Frank to adjourn the meeting. All in favor?
Aye.
Got all that, Joe?
I did.
Okay.
Good man, Joe.
Thank you.